Hello there YouTube, and thanks very much for joining me. I'm Dean the Vaping Biker, and today we're going to be looking at a bunch of Wotofo gear. Now this has happened basically because there was a bunch of stuff that Wotofo sent. I had a bit of a, not a break, but my review queue started to build up a little bit. So what I wanted to do is I did want to give you an idea of the products. So we're doing it up close, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on each product, so to let you know what it's all about. Now generally most of these are going from between 20 and 30 quid, and so there is, as we expect with Wotofo, it's all very affordable, and it is pretty damn good as well. But what I'm going to do is let's dive down straight away, because I don't want this, it's got everything to say this video is going to be huge, and I really don't want it to be. So let's see if we can go up close straight away, and we'll have a look at the products, and then we can I don't know if I'm going to put a little interjection of my thoughts after each one or not. That might be an idea, eh? Yeah, so we'll we'll do an up close, a little bit of a chat, up close, a little bit of a chat for all of these little bad boys we're looking at today. Let's do that, let's get moving. Come on then. Okay, so this is the setups that we've got to look at today. They've got a fair amount to go through, so I'm not going to be spending a massive amount of time on these things, but they have been out for quite some time now, so most people have done videos already. But I did want to show you what Wotofo are offering at the moment. So what we've got, these two are the Serpent Subs. We've got the 22mm and the 25mm. We've got the 25mm Serpent Mini, which is going on here, the 25mm Troll, the 25mm Sapor, the 25mm Sapor V2. Sorry, this is a Sapor tank, obviously RTA. This is the 25mm Sapor V2, and this is the 22mm Sapor V2. So let's take these one at a time, shall we? And let's kick in with the Serpent Subs. Alrighty, so let's kick off with the sub tanks. I've got the two different sizes here because they're both exactly the same, but I thought I'd show you the different color options. We have got obviously the stainless one going on here, which is the 22mm, and we've got the large and chunky 25mm, but as I said, work in exactly the same way. The only difference is with this one, you'll see that you do see this kind of stainless ring going around the top of the AFC there, which I thought was a bit of a strange one, but it's there, so there you go. But nothing to get super excited about, so let's crack on with the 22mm because it's the empty one. So here we go with the Serpent Sub. The top cap comes off, or drip tip comes off, should I say. Very top cap comes off to allow top filling, which is nice and easy. Two massive great kidney shaped holes going on there. Underneath we can undo this. This is how we access the coil. Obviously, to get to the coil, this just unscrews like so. Screw in your new coil and away you go. Now you can use Kanga sub-tank coils in here, which is very useful, although it doesn't actually mention anything about it in the paperwork, or at least nothing that I've seen. But once you go put all that together again, everyone's a winner. And as far as little sub-tanks go, I think that's a very dinky little affair. Now just to tell you what comes with it, you do get a bunch, you can see those in there, a bunch of different colour O-rings, and that's that. And you get a spare glass. That's it. No spare coils, nothing along those lines, which I think is a bit of a mistake from Wotofo there. We should have had at least one extra coil, because just having the one that's installed is a bit rubbish. But other than that, those are the Serpent sub tanks, and we'll talk about them more when we go up top. One thing that I forgot to mention about the Serpent sub tanks is the manual that comes with it. Serpent Sub, away you go. You've got a bunch of nice little pictures there about telling you how to unscrew and screw a coil back in again. It does come fully apart, so that's always nice and lovely. But it doesn't say anything about Kanga coils in there. The one thing I did think was funny was this section here. Do not drop or mishandle your Cirrus sub-tank. So I take it this was earmarked previously should be called the Cirrus. But then I imagine August 8th happened, so they decided to call it Serpent. Anyway, that's it. That's all that you get with it. So yeah, we'll worry about it when we go up top. Okay, so that was the up close with the sub tanks there. Now I've only juiced up the 25mm because that's the one that I've been using a little bit more than the 22. But you know, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with both of them. As far as sub tanks go, I think these are little crackers. Now I've got this at 40 watts. Like I say, this coil is from something else, so it's not Kanga one or from in fact I can tell you exactly what it's from. It's from the Atom. Or it's from Atom, that was in this Metropolis, this kind of gold affair, which I never got. Grey Hay sent me this and I never got round to reviewing it, but I did warn them that I might not do. Anyway, these coils that are in here at the moment are about a 0.5. It's a reasonably restricted hole that going down the middle of these ones, so I have got the air shut off about halfway, and let's have a little toot. I think the tank is it's a sub tank. It's just, there's not really a great deal to talk about. It just does what it says on the tin, and I think it does it well. I think both the 22mm and the 25mm are pretty decent looking, to be honest with you. I think they look pretty sweet on top of a whole bunch of things. I've not had any issues with them, other than the fact Wotofo not giving you extra coils for it, which sucks balls. Very, very handy that Kanga coils fit in there, because a lot of people have Kanga coils. I don't, because I don't generally review tanks. But yeah, they're easy to come by. You can get them from any B&M or any vape shop online, pretty much. So you'll be laughing with that. No problems with that whatsoever. So all in all, my thoughts on the sub tanks are aces. They're sub tanks. They do what they say on the tin. The coils are going to be very dependent on whatever coil you put in there. So, you know, have a little look around and see what floats your boat. But otherwise, it's a great holder for a coil. Here we go. Right, on to the next one. Come on then. Right, so here we are with the Troll 25mm, pretty much exactly the same as the 22, to be honest with you, so I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on here. The box is exactly the same, other than you do have the sticker that says 25 written on there. Now, the RDA works in exactly the same way as the previous Troll, the 22mm, but obviously you've got a lot more space, so let me just show you the deck that you've got to play with on this one. You've got a whole bunch of space in there to be mucking about with, and very nicely they do have the carve outs there underneath the posts that allow you to just fit a little bit extra wick in there if you really want to. But otherwise, I've had no issues with coils in here. Because of the width, you can get some dirty great big boys in there if you really want to. Let's just give that a little measure for the space between posts, shall we? Zero that off there. There we go, 7.69 between posts, and on the outsides we've got about 17 going on there. So you have got these, that should make these about 5mm each, I think. Yeah, there we go. So you do have a massive amount of space. Not the deepest juice well going on in there. That is coming in at just under 6mm, so not the deepest juice well, not by any stretch of the imagination for an RDA of this size. However, it does allow you to put a crap ton of wick in there, so you could fit in a lot of juice if you so wish. Otherwise, apart from that, if you want to see any more about the airflow and all that gubbins, go and check out my Troll V2 review. The only other thing that you get in the box, you do get a bunch of O-rings, coils, and you do get the hoofing great big chuff style drip tip, which if you do want to pop that in there, it looks absolutely ridiculous because it's huge. That's massive. I mean, that's my thumb next to it. That is Oh, it's just huge. Look at the size of that in there. But anyway, there you go. That's the Troll V2 with a top hat that I could quite possibly wear myself. And next up is the Wotofo Troll 25mm. As you'd expect, it does everything that the original it does everything the original Troll did, but bigger. So you do have a larger chamber in there. Obviously, if you do use this massive chuff style cap at the top there, you're not hitting this for flavour. This is going to be something that you are hitting for clouds. Now, as I said, all of these are all coiled the same, with the exception of the single coil in the two tanks. No, one tank. So this is going in at 0.23 again, 66.6 watts, and I am rocking the old Grumpy Custard, just because those of you that have been watching for a while know that I used to use the Grumpy Custard all the time as my tasting juice to let me know if it was any good. So that's what I'm using for a direct comparison with these things. As you can see, the coils in there are nice and dinky, nothing really too special to worry about, but they are firing like little beasties in there. Stainless steel wire, 24 gauge, I think it was, 9 wraps, 66.6 watts. So big old clouds going through. That is the air half open. If I open that air all the way, let's give that a crack. Clouds for days, without a doubt. Now, I do find that the flavour is massively muted on this. I'm not going to lie about that. But I do think that that is because of just the size of the chamber. I mean, there is a lot messing around in there. Now, if I can take this top off, you can see kind of in there, you can see how much space there is around those coils. So there is a huge amount of kind of area for things to go all kinds of wobbly. I'm just moving that around a little bit so I'm a little bit more lined up. But let's have another crack. I'm going to go just with 2 holes open on the diagonal side of things now rather than the horizontals, and same wattage. Let's have a go. Flavour, I don't think it's there, don't get me wrong, it is there, but I don't think it's that clever, to be honest with you. This is for out and out big builds, for big clouds and big power. That really does rock the Troll 25 in my opinion, and that's the best way I can sort of describe it really. Now then, if I put the smaller little kind of cap in there that you get, the little 510 affair, and take one of the diagonal holes down to just the one, let's have a little 2 on that. See, even then, I'm still not getting the bags of flavour that I would like to ordinarily get. And that's still at 66 watts, no points on this Balrog. And so, yeah, it's my thought remains the same. Big power, big clouds, that's your buddy. That's the one you want. And so you can just wind it up and give it some beans. Shall we do that? Let's do that right now, shall we? This only goes 75 watts, so 75 watts it is. Let's have some. Let's put the chuff cap in again, shall we? Or the chuff style. Right, full beans open, 75 watts. Still going. Clouds for days, ladies and gentlemen. So that is the Troll, cloudy like a monster. Right, next. So here we are with the, look at that stand, standout stands did that for me, very happy. Here we go with the Sapor, 25, it's the 25mm Sapor, exactly the same as the 22mm Sapor RTA. So let me just break this down so you can see what you've got going on here. You do have the normal drip tip that we're kind of used to getting from Wotofo at the moment, although this one is solid as opposed to the kind of the folded over affair. I don't know whether I'm just a lucky one with this one, but that's the way this one is. You'll see that O-ring is rather knacked already. Make sure that you do lube up all of these O-rings you get on all the Wotofo products. For some reason of late they've all seemed to be incredibly tight, so yeah, please make sure you do lube them all up. But you've got the nice deep engraving of Wotofo and Sapor on the chimney there, or the chamber if you like. If you unscrew this top section like so, you can see that we've got a couple of really nice large drip holes there, so you can really fill up nice and easily, which makes things a little bit of a godsend. Underneath you've just got Sapor RTA under there. You do have a protruding 510 on here, which is nice, but I'm not entirely sure you'd stick this on a hybrid, but this particular one you could if you wanted, if yours looked like mine. Now, taking this apart a little bit further, here we go with the deck, a fairly standard little deck there. You can remove this little ring, but I'll never screw it back on again, so that's staying where it is. But this whole thing seals around that O-ring down the bottom right there. Juice comes in there, comes up there, and goes straight to your wick. Everyone's a winner. Now, what I tend to find with all of these style of tanks is my wick tends to go just inside here and just inside here, not compressing it, not by any stretch, but having plenty of wick around this section, keeping it all nice and fluffy, not really worrying too much about cramming it in those holes. As long as it sits over the top of those holes comfortably and doesn't allow leaking, then it's all good and gravy, to be honest with you. I've not had any problems building on this, much the same as the 22mm. It works in exactly the same way. Air comes down from the top. You can see those holes underneath that top cap there. The air will come down from there, spread out at the top, down onto your coils, and away you go. And yeah, super simple, but quite effective and good from the old leaking point of view as well. Should it go a little bit wobbly, then it's not going to leak out of the air holes very easily and go all over your pants if you're vaping in them. So that's about it on that one, and nothing else I can really show you going on there. Oh, apart from, look at that. They've extended these bits. They're huge. It's bonkers, but I like it. But with the spares, you do get your normal bits and bobs that come with this one. Nothing to get super excited about. You do get the spare glass and the normal coils and wick and all that gubbins. So that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing much else to show you on that one, I'm afraid. But keeping it simple, that is the Sapor RTA in 25mm. Okay, so that was the up close of the Sapor 25mm, a nice big chunky tank that you've got there. It works in exactly the same way as the previous did. The airflow on it is entirely reasonable. The one thing I don't like about it is the fact that because you've got that, you do have a juice control on there. It can be a little bit wobbly on the mod once it's there. The other thing is, because of this, the ring at the base of it, is that going to focus? Is that going to focus? I've kind of changed my lights around. So this bottom ring right here, which is the actual deck of the tank, it sticks to everything, especially on this 25 because it's a lot larger, and getting hold of it is an absolute sod. I mean, I tend to use little kind of grippers like these, just to be able to get the bugger off. Otherwise, I have hell and all time trying to do it. Anyway, I've put the same coil in absolutely everything we're doing today. This is a dual coil coming in at 0.23 stainless steel 24 gauge. 9 wraps aside, I think, somewhere along those lines. Let's have a little toot at 44.4, shall we? It's got a fair amount of cloud to it. It is a restricted lung hit. It certainly is a restricted lung hit. The juice control does mean that it's very adaptable to any type of juice that you stick in there. And as far as a mouth to lung goes, no, not really. You can get a very loose one if you turn it pretty much off. Yeah, I mean, is this going to come through? No, you can hardly see. There is a tiny little hole that side, and that's it. That is it if you want mouth to lung. But with the dual coils going on in here, generally I would consider this a lung hitter anyway. As it works, it's okay. I know my wife loves the Sapor. She thinks it's a great little tank. Personally, I think with the slight wobble to it, the fact that the juice control is really, really loose. So when you try and change your airflow control, it will upset your juice flow control as well, or vice versa. And that kind of, well, not vice versa at all, really. But if you change your airflow, then that is going to upset your juice, and that just annoys me. That frustrates me because it's finicky. But otherwise, from a performance standpoint, it works fine. It does exactly what it says on the tin, and everyone's a winner. Now, one of the things I don't think I told you was how much liquid this held. Now let's have a little look and see if I can find out anyway. Yes, here we go. I'm on the evolutionvaping.co.uk webpage just because it's one of the few that holds everything. The 25ml does hold 4ml of e-liquid, so you've got 4ml to play around with there, which is nice and easy. But it's not whistling, it's not doing anything it shouldn't. I do find for some reason that the Sapor, and this happened with the 22 as well, it does take a break in. It does take a few pulls just to stop the coil being overly saturated, just to let it settle itself in, and away you go. That's what I've found with this one. But it does what it says on the tin. And once again, for a rebuildable tank under how much are they going for? $27.99 at Evolution. I think it's entirely reasonable, but it's not without its foibles. Right, there we go. That's the Sapor 25. Let's crack on with the other one. Come on then. Right, so here we are with the Sapor RDA as opposed to the RTA that we looked at a second ago. First of all, just to go over things in the box, both the 25 and the 22 are exactly the same in this respect. Just your normal scratch card, not the t-shirt style that some of the other ones have come with. Now, this in here is cotton. There's absolutely no need for me to open that. Now, in here, this is the O-rings, I think. Yes, O-rings in there. You can just about see that. And here, coils. They're funky little 3 whatever they are in there. Not a fan, so I don't use them. And in here, we've got more O-rings, screws and stuff. So that's all you're getting in there. Nothing overly exciting. Let's not spend too much time on that and get into what we're looking at, the main event, so to speak. So what we've got is the 22 and the 25. You'll see that the 22 is taller than the 25, but it does have exactly the same styling going on there. They both look pretty much the same, other than the size, obviously. So what we're going to do is we will look at, what should we look at, the black one or the stainless one? Let's look at the stainless one to start with, and we'll just have a quick look at the deck on the stainless one in a bit. So nice and simple. Now, I couldn't find a drip tip adapter in my packages, so that's really tight in there at the moment. There we go. So you couldn't put your normal drip tip in there, not for mine anyway. I don't know if other people have received drip tip adapters, but I didn't. Now then, we've got controls for top airflow and bottom airflow. Now then, this is a little bit snug since I cleaned it. But here we go. Let's have a little go here. So we can open up that top airflow as you would imagine, and that side airflow has a ring in the middle, which obviously is now super stuck because whilst I did whilst I did give it a little bit of a lube when I cleaned it, I didn't lube it enough. So there we go, with both top and side closed down. Come on, you buggers. Top open, side starting to open. There we go. And there we go. And there we go. So that's what we've got to deal with there. Nothing overly exciting to show you on the outside, I'm afraid. Not entirely sure how I feel about that stylistically. The Sapor, I think, is nice and classy, but I think these kind of holes going on up here are just not very attractive at all. But that's just me being super picky. Now then, let's get this bugger in here so we can worry about taking it to bits, shall we? Take that section off first. Right, so this airflow control ring up for the top, that can come off first. Now the air goes into this section to begin with, through the main barrel, which is right here. Then it comes into the just above these holes. You can kind of just about see right the way through there, where it then goes down onto your coils before coming up into your mouth. So that's the idea anyway, when those days when air is much heavier than air. So that will move the air. That's how the air gets to your coils. Obviously that will have a tendency to be sort of not overly directional, but you know, it does give, well, we'll talk about the flavour when we go back up top, but I do like the design, what they've gone and done here with regards to the kind of the scoping, or the bowling out of that little section in between the air holes. I think that is quite a good attention for detail from Wotofo right there. Now then, here we go with the middle airflow control ring. That'll just move around there as you so want it to do. Once again, we don't have any single coil options. It's dual coil or go home. Thanks very much for playing, but that's what we've got to deal with, so not really any biggie. As long as these side airflow ones are matched up with your coils, you are good and gravy for everything else, so I'm okay with that. One of the things I do like about this is you've got the options. You can have the top closed off, or you can have the side closed off, or you can have them both open, so it's not going to interrupt your day if you just want top, and you know, you have to close off that bottom, which is something that we have seen on a few other RDAs of late. But otherwise, there you go. This feels a little bit, and especially kind of when you take this ring off, it does feel a little bit flimsy. It does, yeah, I mean, that's kind of super thin. I'm fairly confident I could just bend that if I put some pressure onto it. The outer of the top cap is a little bit better, but it's not a thick and chunky piece of kit, this, because I guess they are looking to save space where they can, but also I imagine part of it is obviously going to be going down to cost as well. As I said a little while ago, please make sure you lube all these O-rings, because they are absolute sods if you don't do it, to be honest with you, and I've had a pig of a time. But once you have lubed them up and used them a little bit, then they're all fine and dandy. Now here's the deck. We've got 3 of those fabulously tight O-rings on the base of this one, so that's fun. We've also got the cutaway velocity style posts under here, much like we've seen on the Troll already, so yeah, nothing overly exciting to look at there. Now this one does have a very slightly protruding 510. I think that would be acceptable on a hybrid, or I'd probably risk it for a biscuit, but that's a very close call, to be honest with you. Not one of my first choices for a hybrid, I must admit. Now the black one is going to be looking exactly the same, works in exactly the same way. However, just to show you the difference in deck, much like we had with the Troll, we've got much wider posts, and we do have still those cutouts underneath, so you can get a crap ton of wick. So here we have the depth in the deck, and here we have the width in the deck, so you can still get a massive amount of wick in both. But otherwise, that's it for the Sapor RDA. Okay, so now I have got the out of focus. That's what I've got. There we go. We're in focus. I've got the 25 and the 22mm Sapor V2 going on. I've got the same going on with both. So full open at the top and 2 holes open at the side. Now I've got the new, what's this? What's it called? Skar with a K, from Lost Vape going on here, and I've got the Asmodus Minikin 2 going on here. Both of these are showing 66.6. Same builds once again as before, and let's have a go. 22mm first. Flavour is a bit better on that one. We'll go through a few different flavour settings in a moment, but still bags of air, a very slight restriction, but still bundles of cloudage if you so want it. So same saying on the 25, we'll expect more air maybe because of the larger chamber. The actual size of the holes does look as though it is the same. Maybe the top is a little bit thicker. than the 22mm on the 25, but let's have a little toot on this and we'll see how we get on. Still, I think the flavour is down on that one a little bit, and I will apportion that down to the size once again. The draw, I think, is pretty much the same, to be honest with you, which is interesting. So that will tell me that this one really needs to be wound up a little more to get a similar sort of flavour amount as you're getting in the 22mm. That extra large chamber does make a difference. So let's just wind that up to 72. I'm going to go 72 because I'm feeling a bit fruity today. $72 on there, 66 on here. No, I think this will need to go up as well. It's difficult. I think vapors. You do lose flavour on the larger cap, in my opinion, because it's a larger space. Yes, you can put bigger builds in it, but you do lose flavour a tad. I think on this one, this is just going to be down to whether you want a big one or a little one. They do roll very, very similar. Now, let me just take out that middle airflow completely on both of them. I'll take this back down to 66.6 just because it's a fairer comparison. So about now, I wish I'd have brought a bigger drink up here with me. I know that. Right, 66.6. Let's go for the big one first, just the top air. Quite restricted, and that does seem to give a little bit better flavour. Yeah, and I would say that top airflow is giving me a better flavour, and I'm not entirely sure why that is, but it is. So now let's take that top airflow out and just go with the side. We'll rock that 3 holes open on each to start with. Are you bored yet? 3 holes open, side only. That's too restricted. That's too restricted. Let's move that around a little bit. Wide open without getting my chunks of nail in there. That would be bad. The O-rings are still very snug. Right, wide open on both. Flavour isn't too shabby on that either. Or on that one. Personally, I am preferring the top air going down onto the coils with a little bit extra. Get rid of the vapor. Get rid of the vapor. With a little bit extra help, maybe with 1 or 2 holes open on the side as well. That's how I've been preferring to vape them. And I think the flavour does get to be a little bit better on the smaller one because of the smaller chamber. However, they both perform excellently. And if you do want to wind it up, as I say, go for the big one. Clouds for days, bro. That's basically my thoughts on the Sapor V2 RDA. That's those two, boys. Let's go on to the next one. What's left? Ooh, come on then. Right, so here we are with the Serpent Mini. Now, I believe this is exactly the same as the previous one in the packaging, other than the fact it says 25, much as the other ones have shown us. Now then, what I am going to show you just inside this one, we do get the little t-shirt affair. We've got a little how-to booklet, and I think this one is pretty adequate and up to the job, which I think is nice. It does tell you about the kind of things that we are going to be looking at in here for a second. So yeah, that's quite nice. You do have a spare glass to worry about there. You do have a spare deck that we'll look at in a second. That O-ring just fell off the deck, so that's nice. Come off the beggar. There it is. And we get all the normal gubbins down there with O-rings and stuff and malarkey and things. So yeah, you've got all of that kind of normal gear that Wotofo tends to give you. Now then, let's have a little look at the Serpent Mini tank. I have actually been kind of having a pretty good time with this. But I will mention something when we go up close. Sorry to headphone users for that clatter. Now then, what we've got is the drip tip up top, and that's very snug. That's very snug. Too much cleaning and not enough lubing again. So you can fit your own drip tips in there. No chuff caps are necessary. Taking the top off, much like the other ones, we do have the nice big fill holes in there, so you can top up your tank nice and easily. Obviously this entire tank does come apart for cleaning, which I think is good. I've not had any problems with any of the threading or anything like that either. Now then, if I take this, undo the bottom, take this and undo the bottom, you'll see that we do have the deck. Now this is what we were used to with the Serpent Mini previously. This, once again, if you haven't seen my video on that one, I strongly urge you to make sure that when your leads do go through here, because your coil wraps around, one lead goes up this way, one lead goes this way, make sure that you do wrap it either cut it incredibly close to this this deck right here, or to once you've got it kind of measured up, give it a little bend in the wire, take it out and then snip it kind of just a little bit back from the bend, so that way you make sure that you don't have any wire protruding from these holes under there. But otherwise I've had no problems really with this one. The just be careful with these Allen heads, because they are a little bit on the delicate side. You can feel that they are quite wobbly if you do try and sort of really tighten up your coils. So if you do put anything funky in there, just be aware of that one. Now then, if you do want to take this out and have more of a regular, straightforward kind of affair, I just unscrew this like so. Here is the other deck. Let me just get this O-ring that came off when I took it out of the box. That little bad boy around there. Well, that's loose. Is this the O-ring for this one? I don't know. Let me worry about those O-rings. I can always take the O-ring off the other one if needed. So yeah, what we'll do is once that O-ring is on there fine and dandy, make sure that this bottom O-ring is on as well. That then goes into the deck, screws in nice and snug, and away you go, normally sealed by the O-ring that I've just taken off. You've got two nice big airflow holes going on right there. I'm not going to show you how to wick it, just because it's the same as pretty much everything else. What I do want to say is they've actually raised the air holes a little bit, but they are still very, very close to where your wick goes. So what I would say is once you do wick it and your wick is kind of just poking in these holes, keeping it fluffy, take a little screwdriver or Allen key and just move it either side of these air holes, just to make sure that no wick is touching, because if you have got wick that's going up to your coil here but touching the side of this, e-liquid will always take the path of least resistance, and so may come down the wick, or come up through the wick and then just go pouring out of your hole there. So no one needs juice pouring out of the hole, so please be aware of that if you are building on one of these things. Personally, I've stuck with the single coil air on this one, mainly because I like the juice that it's holding. I like the draw that it's got, and where's it gone? And I mean, if you look at those two size air holes there, you're not really missing out a great deal of air by going for this one big bad boy in the middle there, as opposed to the two smaller options going on there. So I've been really rocking the single coil. But yeah, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pop that back in there because I will be using the single coil again. Right, stick that in there like so. Where's the rest of the tank? The tank does, as I mentioned, fully come apart as well, so you have no problems with that. If you do want to know how I do coil this or wick it, you can obviously always go and check out the 22mm version that I reviewed quite some time ago. But otherwise, it's a big chunky monkey, but it's a decent little RTA which holds a reasonable amount of juice. So that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. That comes to the end of the up close section. Let's go up top and have a brief chat. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if I've done this the right way around, we are going to be finishing on the Serpent Mini. Now, I have got the single coil deck on here at the moment. It's one of the same coils that I've been using in the other ones. So obviously we're looking at double the resistance coming through on here at 0.49. Let's have a toot. Wide open air. Now, I think the Serpent Mini is a great little flavour atomizer. I really do. I'm really enjoying it with a single coil. And I'm just enjoying it as a vape. I like the juice capacity because you are looking at the 4mm, I believe, on this one. Is it the 4mm? Is it 4mm? I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. Let me check. I can't check. It's not there. No, Sapor Mini. That's not the 25. I think this is about 4mm. But yes, I mean, I think I haven't really used the dual core deck because if you want dual core, yes, you can, and that's fine, but it's not really any different to any other dual core. But for that single core, I keep saying core. Why am I saying core? Coil. Let's try that one, Dean. Coil. Then I think it's a little stormer. So 40 watts. Let me just take that up to 44.4. I'm using the little tiny Wotofo Serpent Mod as well at the moment, which is just come into the review queue. Dinky little setup there. I mean, look at that. Right. Yeah, a little bit more cloudage, a little bit of a warmer vape, which is very, very nice indeed. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. One of the things I will say, two things actually, on the build on this, I'll say that first of all, you have to make sure, without a doubt, just like you did with the smaller version, that you do snip your leads, as I said in the up close, very, very close to the side of those posts. Also, you don't really have a great deal of space upwards. So when you do build your coils, build them directly over the air hole. I mean, on this one, I've got a mil, if that, in between the airflow hole and the bottom of the coil, and I'm getting on with that absolutely fine. I was having issues. Actually, let me just try it. I was putting this on a few other boxes, and I know that my M-Vapes with a Fat Daddy connector did the same thing. Now let me just try this for a second, because it was reading all kinds of funky on different devices. And I have no idea why that happened. Let me have a little look there. Oh no, it's reading fine. Reading fine. Yeah, that's absolutely fine and down. Well, it has gone up to 0.53. So, I mean, I don't know why that has had a slight change on a couple of boxes. I thought it was an issue with the 510, but it turns out that that's not the case. When I did take it apart and gave it a good clean, I did give the 510 a clean up as well. But having said that, it's working all fine and dandy now, and it was bound to be user error somewhere along the line. I have found the Serpent Mini to be the less, even though the airflow is at the bottom, the less leaky one. Comparing it to the Sapor 25, I've found, as I said in the studio bit for that it did seem to require a kind of a little short break-in period. The Serpent Mini, I've found, has not needed that at all. So yeah, I've been absolutely having a good time with this little tank, to be honest. Going to ask me, check out miser. Why is it saying check out miser? Oh, new coil. Yeah, no, yes, fuck it. This isn't going to be something for clouds for days, but it is going to give you a very respectable lung hit with a very slight restriction and a decent amount of flavour. Plus, if you do put yourself Claptons or something in here, for me, it turns it into a little flavour machine. It really, really does. So I think that's going to be about it for all of the Wotofo gear that we're looking at today. I'm pretty sure we've covered everything. At least I certainly hope we have. Now we have got the Freak Show V2, which I'm giving its own review to, purely because I think it's absolutely awesome. I really, really, really do like it. It's one of my favourite Wotofo products for a little while. Now, out of the ones we've looked at today, I like the Serpent Mini 25mm from a tank point of view. The sub tank I think is spot on, and it doesn't make any difference whether you use the 25 or the 22, because they both vape in pretty much the same way because it's a sub tank. However, I've had no problems with those, and as far as sub tanks go, I think they're really, really good. I think they are actually cheap as piss as well. Let me see. Are they on here? Are they on here? Are they on here? No, they are not. But they're gonna be cheap and cheerful. They're gonna be super cheap and cheerful. Only annoyance being you don't get those coils. Now, when it comes to the Sapor RDAs, I think the smaller one does give you a better flavour. Although because it's quite tall, it does look a little bit on the funky side, in my opinion. So, to be honest with you, the Sapors probably wouldn't be high on my purchase list. The Serpent Mini tank would be, and that larger tank with the 25mm for sure. The sub tanks would be absolutely, and certainly something I'd recommend for someone wanting to go for their first sub tank. The Troll V2, to be honest, probably not so much, because the Troll V2 on the regular 22mm was okay. I think I quite liked it, but it had a lot to live up to with the Troll V1. The 25mm of the V2 I think does a reasonable job, and if you just want air, you just want clouds, then all fine and dandy. However, the winner, I think, or the two winners, if I had to pick two out of what we looked at today, it would be the Serpent Mini tank and the sub tank, strangely enough, which is very odd for me. But yeah, out of all of these, out of all of the RDAs, I would pick the Freak Show over the top of all of them, and I'll explain that in the Freak Show V2 review. But otherwise, I think this may be a monster length review. I've tried to keep it as short and sharp and collect and whatever as I possibly could. I'm also going to try and timestamp each product in the description down there. So all of these were sent on to me direct from Wotofo, but it's Wotofo, so they will be everywhere. So yeah, otherwise, thanks very much for watching. I've been Dean the Vaping Biker. We're going to sign out with the little Wotofo Serpent Mini on the Serpent Mod, just because I think it's dinky and I think it's cool. Thanks very much for watching. I hope it's been useful. Please hit that subscribe and like and all that sort of crap if you fancy. And as I said before, if you didn't like it, hit subscribe. Then you can tell me if I've got any better on the next one. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Have it large.